Do a medical update. And give you guys kind of a what's what of what's going on with my body right now with this wrist fracture that occurred. Now, what happened is I broke my wrist in three places because, if you're going to do something, you might as well do it three times. I don't know. Anyway, so what occurred is I broke my wrist on the straight across in two places, chipped off a bunch of this bone, and then I broke my radius going up towards my elbow. Apparently, it was pretty close to being to the center or something like that. I saw the X-ray, but it was more like I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, is this good? Is this bad? Sort of thing. So, in doing so, what ultimately happened is I had to get with an orthopedic surgeon, but it started off with putting me in a cast, a sugarcane cast, whatever they call it. It's like one they just mold to you in the ER. So they did that. A couple days, about a week later, I went to an orthopedic doctor, and she went through and reviewed everything and ended up putting me into another cast. And she said, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to let these bones heal naturally, however they heal. If we have to, we'll fix them. And I was like, okay, I understand. That makes sense. I mean, why would you cut me if it's not a compound fracture or something life threatening? It makes total sense. She said, and what shocked me is she was like, I really want to avoid surgery. And I'm like, a surgeon who wants to avoid surgery? That's pretty cool. And anyway, so we took it straight out, let the bones heal naturally, went back, and she's like, okay, we're going to start you on physical therapy. We want to get strength back, rotation, everything that your wrist normally does. So in doing so, they put me through multiple weeks of physical therapy, and then they tried steroid shots in order to kind of relieve the inflammation. Well, they discovered that I had torn a ligament off the bone completely. I think it's a ligament or tendon, one of the two. I can't remember, to be honest. Something that surgically needed to be repaired. Now, another thing that occurred is I chipped out bones. There were just little chunks of bones floating around from the wrist fractures. So they wanted to get all of those out. And she's like, go through the physical therapy. We're giving you this shot. It's going to push surgery another 6 weeks. I guess that's how long they have to medically wait in between a steroid shot and surgery. So we did that, not an issue, followed the doctor's directive. During physical therapy, I asked my doctors and my physical therapist, I said, hey, I ride motorcycles. I'd really like to get back out there. Do you think it's safe for me to do so? I wouldn't damage anything further, like medically and just for my safety. Is it something I should be doing? And they literally were like looking at me. They're like, okay, well, your physical therapy consists of rotations, strengthening, bending, stretching, and things of those nature. Now, for comparison, real quick, this is my non-dominant hand. So I'll just try to hold it here. You can see I can rotate it. I don't have much of an issue. There's nothing really wrong. So my non-dominant hand versus my dominant hand, which is injured. So in comparison, where I can bend my wrist, I can make a fist, bend my wrist, and you can see how much of an angle I'm trying to show. Yeah, there you go. And then I can even do that. I mean, just for comparison, this is my injured wrist, which I am about 6 weeks out from surgery. I'm about to start physical therapy. That's as far as I can bend it. So, when they did the implants of the metal screws and they did the medical mesh implant, everything right now, we're kind of in a holding pattern until I get back into physical therapy and they can evaluate. What I'm hoping to occur is that I'll heal quickly. I can go back to work. So right now, I have restrictions. I can't do anything with this hand. I can't use like power tools. I can't do any manual labor with this hand. I can do simple things like I can pick up a pencil, but I have pain still due to the injury, which to me is amazing. So what you can see here. What the amazing thing that I had forgotten from, I guess, high school biology is your wrist, both of these bones, when you are, for example, say this is my arm, the bottom, or right here, the wrist, or well, flip that. This is my elbow. This we'll just call the front of the fingers of the wrist. So when you do something with your arm and you rotate it like this, or something, anything of that nature, what happens is the bones actually cross each other. And that's just amazing to me, first off. I mean, that's pretty cool in my opinion. So with the physical therapy, with doing everything, physical therapy really consisted of strengthening, stretching, and things of that nature. I got to a point where I could actually safely rotate back a little bit. I had good grip strength coming back, and this is before surgery. So my doctors and my physical therapist, when I asked them, I said, guys, I ride motorcycles. It's how I relieve stress when I'm having bad times, just kind of escape for a little bit. I want to get back to a point. I know it's going to take a long time to get back before I can go to work because of all this, and I know ultimately probably going to have surgery. And they gave me this whole course, with all these twistings, turnings, and strengthening and things of that nature. And I was restricted from using power tools, swinging tools, or doing anything physical. So basically, I was told to consider my right arm as one straight pole or rod that can't rotate or be used as a blunt object. What they're worried about is obviously me re-injuring or worsening the injury. And my doctor and the physical therapist actually said, you can ride your motorcycle because it falls along the lines of PT. Just don't be hitting the throttle like crazy. They said if for whatever reason, I ride a Road Glide, it's a touring bike, you can rotate like a little bit, not like all the way back, full throttle. And luckily it falls along those lines, and that kind of helped me get through all this. I've been reading, I've been watching movies and TV shows and trying to stay busy, but when you're stuck in the house this long, it's horrible. What I want to do is get back out there and at least get riding first because it goes with PT. I want to get back to work. I don't want to be sitting at my house anymore. So I'm ready to go. Like right now, if I could just like wave a wand and this never broke, it'd be fantastic. Ultimately, hopefully a couple more weeks and I'll be back at work. I did ask my supervisor when he called me for something, and or I called him maybe just to give him an update when he texted me or something. I can't remember. Somehow I made contact with my supervisor and told him, I was like, when I come back, I want to do simple things. I don't want to immediately go back to 100%. I kind of want to take a little bit of time to kind of ease back into my job because it is manual labor. And I don't want to risk, overexerting myself right off the bat. I mean, once I get to a point where I'm medically cleared, I might throw a party. Like, I'm just going insane here. And all I want to do is get back to work. Hopefully, medically, I'll be cleared to do so with the same current position that I'm in. If not, hopefully the company will let me transfer to something else to kind of spice it up a little bit and not leave the company, because I've been there for about 6 years now, 5 or 6 years, something like that. Time flies, wow. Anyway, we're just gonna take it one day at a time. The pain that I have normally just sitting here, like not doing anything, I have pain really along this side, and this is where I'm assuming they did the implant because it's where the scar is, so it kind of makes sense, I guess, correlation wise. I don't know how bad the tear or the rip or anything internally was, but as long as I can, as long as I see improvement day by day. Like when I first got out the cast, I couldn't do this with my hands because it was pushing back a little bit here. So I've been focusing on doing this like I was told to during the whole time that I was in my cast, just to keep everything as loose as possible. I do this a lot of the time. People may see me just standing there like holding my wrist, just going like this. And it helps a little bit. So positive, that's the way I'm looking at it. I'm trying to stay positive, although sitting in this house and it sucks. There ain't no other way really to say it. Ultimately, hopefully we'll be back at work soon. So I wanted just to give you guys this update and let you know why I haven't been on or around, especially in the last few weeks. And, it's funny, I actually ended up buying some new GoPro stuff so I can shoot some more videos. But I can't jump on the bike until it's medically safe. There's a difference between riding a motorcycle and being medically cleared to go back to work and sling a hammer or throw a 40-foot or 75-foot ladder, whatever the height is. No, 30-foot. It's 75 pounds is what someone told me, or 70 pounds. And then 80 pounds of cable or more, climbing in attics underneath houses and stuff like that. It's manual labor, so there's a big difference between being cleared to simply, go back to work versus being able to do my job. And the way that my work is, they will not let you back in the building or back, at work until you're 100%. And I'm like, guys, can I just go sit at a desk and make phone calls or order parts or, run a truckload of stuff and let the people load it for me and then unload it at the other location, because it's very frustrating sitting at home all the time. Granted, I'm reading, I'm watching movies and stuff like that to stay preoccupied. But when you go from such a physical job where you're working, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, sometimes more if you're on call, hours a day, to being stuck at home, yeah, that's pretty much hell. So we'll take it one day at a time. We'll kind of work towards getting to where we need to go. But I wanted to do an update. I haven't uploaded a YouTube video, a TikTok, or anything really regarding medically where I'm at. Some cool things that I've been able to do too, though, while being on medical leave, is starting my sleeve tattoo. Well, okay, put it this way. I already have half a sleeve coming down this arm. I was able to start the other side, and we're kind of working our way back up to that part. I'm also starting other artwork on this arm, so it's nice to at least be able to get out the house to go do things like that and kind of not be stuck. But this tattoo was 5 hours. The one on the back, the lion, was 6 hours. So it's only really a short time in comparison to the amount of time I've been out of work. But other than that, please feel free to comment, ask some questions, and hopefully pretty soon I'll be back on the bike, back at work, and